members and guests out here. I am Swati Singh, and I welcome you all to the 8th Eastern India Microfinance Summit 2024. The title of the summit is Empowering the Poor, Microfinance as a Catalyst for Sustainable Development. We will start with the lighting of the lamp ceremony, followed by national anthem. I would like to call the following dignitaries on the dais for the lamp lighting ceremony. Mr. Ajit Kumar Maiti, Chairperson of AMFI-WB. Sir, a big round of applause for Sir. Mr. Kuldeep Maiti, Secretary of AMFI-WB.
Not sitting na.
Treasurer, Mr. Kartik Biswas, Managing Director, Uttarayan. Mrs. Rahima Bibi, our board member of AMFI-WB. Mr. Sujay Kumar Yadav, General Manager, SBI LHO. Sir, Mr. Prakash Kumar, Deputy Managing Director, SIDBI. Ms. Usha Ramesh, Chief General Manager, NABARD. Mr. Satyajit Deb, General Manager, Department of Supervision, RBI. A big round of applause. Dr. Subhranshu Shekhar Acharya, Chief General Manager, SIDBI. Mr. Sudipta Roy, Managing Director, L&T Finance Limited. Mr. Tamal Bandyopadhyay, award-winning author and renowned journalist. Mr. Aditya Chatterjee, Managing Director, Equifax. Mr. Gigi Menon, Executive Director, Sadhan. Last but not the least, Mr. Habib Sheikh, Vice President, MFin. Apart from, I would request Mr. Asit, sir, to name some few other dignitaries to come on dais.
Yeah. I will first request Sonia ma'am to come up on stage, and Diksha ma'am also. Diksha ma'am is the new board member of AMFI-WB. I will also request any of our AMFI-WB leaders are here. Please come on stage for lamp lighting. I will request any other leader are here of AMFI-WB. Please come on stage. Now it will help Kodin, now halka music থাকবে light না আসছে গেছে তো একটা লাইট মিউজিক দেবেন এখানে আচ্ছা এটার পরেই কিন্তু জনগণ স্টার্ট হবে এর পরে
A big round of applause, please. देवी और सज्जनों, तालियां बरसती रहनी चाहिए.
Okay. Sir, I would request now all of you to stand up for the national anthem.
A very good morning to all of you. When a poor dies of hunger, it has not happened because God did not take care of him or her. It has happened because neither of you nor I wanted to give that person what he or she needed. Microfinance is one such idea that serves the need of the poor and provides that escape velocity out of poverty. I am Pratyusha, one of your hosts for today, and we are about to start our welcome address and our inaugural session for the day. Today's inaugural session is about the key issues around the main theme of the summit: empowering the poor, microfinance as a catalyst for sustainable development. For our welcome address, I would like to request Mr. Ajit Kumar Maiti, Chairperson, Amphi West Bengal, to start the inaugural session. Sir, I would like to request you up on dais.
Very good morning. I welcome all the dignitaries and the delegates in this 8th Microfinance Summit organized by MP West Bengal. This time I see little leisure participation, maybe is due to the month of February. Everyone is busy in their business development. Anyway, MP, you know, everyone, is a state level organization. It is started in 2008 and কোনটা এসে আসছেন বলে দাও আমি তো তাই বুঝতে পারিনি I request Madam Timothy Usha Ramesh, CGM NABARD, please come in the dais, please.
Madam, will you sit here?
Sorry. We are very glad that in this inaugural session, so many important persons from different institutions has joined. Mr. Sujoy Kumar Jadhav, GM2 SBI. I welcome him. Mr. Prakash Kumar, DMD SIDBI Mumbai. I welcome him. Srimati Usha Ramesh, CGM NABARD. I welcome her. And Dr. Satyajit Dev, GM RBI, Regional Office Kolkata. I also welcome him. At the same time, we have Mr. G.G. Menon. He is the MD of Shadhan. So, today it is already late to start this session. Every time I used to say that how this microfinance organizations and microfinance borrowers can sustain. Always हम लोग बोलते हैं सबको सस्टेनेबल होना चाहिए, but how they can? There should be some debate. हम लोग ये भी देखा है जो माइक्रो फाइनेंस लोन लिया है बोरोवर, उसका कोई सेविंग्स नहीं है, उसका लोन है 1 लाख रुपया, 1.5 लाख रुपया, 2 लाख रुपया, उसके पास कुछ बचत नहीं है, उसका कैपिटल फ्यूचर कैपिटल भी नहीं है। हमारे जे माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो हम लोग डिलीवरी करते हैं उसका भी कैपिटल फुल्ली बोरोड, थोड़ा बहुत होता है बट मोस्टली बोरोड फ्रॉम बैंक, मोस्टली बोरोड फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टर्स। कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड बहुत ज़्यादा है, इट बिकम्स between 14 to 17%, and cost of borrowing for the borrowers also is very high. It is 22 to 25-6%. It depends on the size of the organizations. तो हम लोग को बोलते हैं क्या, जो माइक्रो फाइनेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है वो बहुत सारे इंटरेस्ट ले देते हैं। हमारा कोई अदर को कुछ रिसोर्सेस नहीं है जो हम लोग इंटरेस्ट रेट को घटा जाएगा। हाउ वी कैन स्लैश द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बिकॉज आवर कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरोइंग इज वेरी हाई। तो इसलिए दिक्कत होता है, तो हमको ढूंढना पड़ेगा कैसे उसका माइक्रो फाइनेंस का जो है बोरोवर्स उनको एक रीजनेबल रेट में उसके पास लोन पहुँचे, एटलीस्ट up to 18% of the rate of interest. That would be quite reasonable. But our fund cost then should be reduced to 8 to 9%. How it is possible? ये हम लोग को सोचना पड़ेगा। ये हम लोग सोचेंगे तो सबका ही सस्टेनेबिलिटी आएगा। हम देखा है, हम लोग माइक्रो फाइनेंस में क्या होता है, फर्स्ट सेविंग्स है, उसके पास लोन, उसके पास इंश्योरेंस, देन द रेमिटेंस। फर्स्ट लेग इज मिसिंग, सेविंग्स इज मिसिंग इन द प्रेजेंट लॉ। हम लोग सेविंग्स बोलते हैं, नॉट डिपॉजिट, सेविंग्स फ्रॉम बोरोवर। क्या टू सम एक्सटेंट धीरे धीरे उनका थोड़ा सेविंग्स होगा, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, अप टू 5,000 लेवल। तो ये क्या होता है, उसका भी थोड़ा ताकत बढ़ेगा, एम्पावरमेंट जाग होगा, और उसके पास जो भी पैसा है सब बोरोइंग, सब लोन का है। तो वो जो सेविंग्स जो है, वो सेविंग्स भी ताकत भी देते हैं, क्या है, एमएफआईज को। लाइक कोई फ्लड होता है, कोई उनका कोई एक्सीडेंट होता है, शी कैन रीपे फ्रॉम दिस सेविंग्स। तो ये जो कोविड हुआ है, कोविड का टाइम में कितना नुकसान हुआ है हमारे एमएफआईज को, बिकॉज उसके पास कोई नहीं है, बोरोवर्स के पास भी पैसा नहीं है, रिकवरी नहीं है। ये रिकवरी होने में जितना लॉस हुआ है, कम से कम तो 6 to 7 years लगेगा ही। बाई दिस टाइम अनदर कुछ अनफॉर्चुनेट कुछ हो जाएगा। तो इसलिए इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू सस्टेन दिस माइक्रो फाइनेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, स्पेशली स्मॉल वन। इसके बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा। हम लोग देखा है रिसेंटली, हम लोग एक एक्सपोजर विजिट किया है बांग्लादेश में, देखे हैं दे आर क्वाइट सस्टेनेबल। दे आर एक्सेप्टिंग not deposits, only savings. and also giving the loan. Borrowers, everyone has the borrowings, savings, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, and they are taking the loan up to 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs. Every time we should raise our voice, give this opportunity for the empowerment of the women, for the sustainability of this microfinance sector. बैंक डिपॉजिट लेते हैं, उसके पास बहुत सारे पैसे हैं, पब्लिकली लेते हैं. We want only from our borrowers, not from the public. No other product, only savings, small money, which will reduce our cost of borrowings, and that small money will utilize. We should not sell to the big investors who want 20% return. तो ये हम लोग को सोचना पड़ेगा, कैसे हम लोग आरबीआई को भी रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे इसके बारे में थोड़ा ध्यान देना चाहिए. Up to 5,000 you start believing, trust us. अभी भी कोई माइक्रोफाइनेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बिफोर एक्ट हम लोग सेविंग्स लेते थे. एक पैसा किसी को जब आरबीआई ने बताया है डिपॉजिट वापस कर दीजिए, every money, every paise has been refunded. So we are not cheat fund, because our outstanding is enough, more than their savings. There are other countries are there, Nepal there, Pakistan there. Their regulations में savings accepted है. देखिए तो स्मॉल वे, इफ देयर कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ेगा तो उसके बाद थोड़ा सोचेंगे क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, बट सेविंग शुड बी देयर. सो इसी के बारे में थोड़ा डिबेट होना चाहिए, रीजनल लेवल, स्टेट लेवल एंड नेशनल लेवल. सो आई डोंट वांट टू से मोर. थैंक यू एवरीवन. आज का जो सेशन है, बहुत सारे सेशन हैं, ये जो मैंने बताना है, ये हमारा एवरी टाइम आई डोंट नो हाउ मच टाइम विल टेक. जो हम लोग जो सोचेंगे ठीक है ये होना चाहिए, हम लोग बताएंगे तो एक साल 2 साल 3 साल 5 साल बाद कुछ ना कुछ तो होता रहेगा. So please actively participate and listen and enjoy the day. Thank you very much.
For our next session, or next address rather, I would like to call upon the dais Shri Sujay Kumar Yadav, General Manager, State Bank of India, LHO.
A very warm good morning to all of you. The Secretary and all the office bearers of AMFI West Bengal, thank you for inviting us from the banks and all the partners and everybody who is in this stage. A very warm good morning. Mr. Maiti has very succinctly and very correctly pointed out many of the challenges and many of the successes of microfinance. MFI as such is supposed to be unsecured lending because the places or the people which AMFI or which microfinance MFIs serve, they don't have any asset per se, which can be offered as collateral. And against that backdrop, the kind of successes and the kind of uplifting of people from the below the poverty line to actually working class and people who are managing their life in a very sustainable way is credible. But before going further, I would like to only dwell upon one thing which I found in Hyderabad, an organization which has actually dwelled upon the topic of leapfrogging. It was a NGO and it was helping out people who had left schools, classes, or orphans who did not have any formal learning, and at the age of 11 or 12 they didn't know basic alphabets. The normal way of thinking was that you start these children to go to class KG and all. That is not going to help. A small capsule kind of training was given to them, these children, and they leapfrogged to their class level, be it class 6th, class 7th, within a period of 6 months to 7 months. They are not very intelligent or doing very good, but yes, they are now actually, they have learned alphabets, they have learned how to make sentences, they now know how to add and subtract and basic signs. And then now they are ready for any technical training and all. Leapfrogging is one concept which comes into mind. Another concept which has come very drastically right now is on risk weight. Last year RBI sent a communication that okay, they are worried about bank and MFI linkage and all, and the kind of issues that it may raise, and so it raised the risk weight. I will take these two concepts, and as Mr. Kuldeep Maiti was saying that let us try to find out some way, how do we go around this and how do we ensure that the savings of customers, the actual customers, that is, the customer is, for MFI, it is basically a loan sourcing or loan taking customer. How can we broad base it to savings? For a general public or for a general India which is growing and which is actually growing like anything, the GDP and all is really sustainably growing. There, now we are talking about investments instead of savings. And mutual fund as such, the mutual fund base has grown to 50 lakh crores, right? And compare it with whatever savings and other deposits are there in our kitty, in the bank's kitty. It is a very valid suggestion, and of course, with certain amount of mitigants and alignment or arrangement with various banks and other service providers, I think we can very well look at a asset light model for all the MFIs, so that it makes more sense of the customer ensuring that he gets more, his net interest is reduced, because there's a loan component on which he has to pay interest, there's a saving component on which he gets better interest. His net interest is reduced, and overall he learns how to build savings and investment for his future. It may result in anything. It may result in anything. It may result in his daughter's marriage, his son's education, or increasing his business. Anything. But yes, let us definitely look at these things. And being asset light means that, okay, there must be more collaboration with various stakeholders. It can be banks, it can be mutual funds, insurance, because microfinance as such, we are, or the general public or even the newspapers and all, they look at it from a very narrow angle of loans. But MFI is actually more broad based, and let us look into that broad basing concept and ensuring that the customer, our customer, MFI customers, they actually gain out of it. I will again say that this is again one of the goals which has been which has been taken up in the Sustainable Development Goals, and that is where we all should actually build our base into. And I will urge Amphi West Bengal to proactively interact with the regulators, and let's build a case or to ensure that this kind of a model actually is presented and some groundwork actually happens. On these lines, I wish the MP West Bengal and this conference a very, very hearty success, and I hope that all of you stay well. Thank you.
For our next address, I would like to call upon the dais Shri Prakash Kumar, DMD, SIDBI, Mumbai.
Very good morning to all of you. All the dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Maiti, and all of you from the microfinance sector who are here today. It's always a pleasure to be among the microfinance practitioners. I've been in SIDBI for a very long time, but my journey with microfinance started when I came to the microfinance department post-Andhra crisis. So I've seen this sector struggling through the Andhra crisis and the multiple crises thereafter. And I've headed the microfinance vertical of SIDBI as well for a brief period in between, and seen through that demonetization, the COVID, the Assam, etc., etc. Just want to say that, as many of you may be aware, SIDBI has been with this sector since beginning. We started lending to the NGOs way back in 1995-96 when we started our microcredit support program, microcredit scheme, on a pilot basis, when the SHG was only the other way of doing microfinance. And people did not believe that an NGO can actually be a lender. Those were early days. Then, as the program succeeded in 2000, we set up a full-fledged department called SIDBI Foundation for Microcredit, SFMC. And with the help of DFID of UK and AFD of France, we started a national microfinance support program wherein for 7 years, with a good technical assistance support from these agencies, international agencies, we could do a lot of sector building work with the sector, and gradually saw these NGOs transitioning into regulated entities, NBFCs. And then the Andhra crisis, the regulations, and then the SFBs, Bandhan Bank. It has been a long journey. And when we look back each time on a forum like this, it gives us a lot of satisfaction that together we have been able to create this robust sector, which many in the government perhaps did not believe at that point of time. So all credit goes to all of you who are sitting here in this hall today. Now, SIDBI has been always there with the sector. There's no formal role adopted by us, unlike NABARD, who used to claim ownership of SHG Bank Linkage Program, but we have always been there with the sector. And it is not only lending which we have done immense capacity building of the MFIs, when once upon a time we used to give technical assistance with the help of these support that we had, capacity building assistance to the MFIs. The capacity assessment rating was introduced by SIDBI when we felt that other banks should also come and start lending, because giving unsecured loan to an entity without any security, it was not easy to convince the banks to come over and start lending. The code of conduct assessment to push the fair practices code in partnership with associations like MFIN and Sadhan, and so many other activities. I can keep on listing them out here, but that's not the objective. It's just to give a background. Now, as we stand today, it has been almost 30 years of microfinance. I just like to highlight a couple of things which is very close to my heart, and I've been talking about this on the recent all the microfinance forums where I've been attending. The most important thing, and you must have heard that there's always a conflict. The sector, although it has been 25 to 30 years old, this conflict about the interest rate being charged has always been there. So there's a section in the government, section in the political, this thing that they believe that we are charging too high in interest rates. It's very difficult to convince them that we are actually a social organization, we are actually an impact organization. We have heard a lot of criticisms. Recently in April 2022, when RBI has come out with the new guidelines, they have deregulated the interest rate, and now again you are hearing those concerns. They feel that we are not acting responsibly enough and interest rates are going up, and this was not the intention of these regulations. These concerns are coming, and these concerns keep on coming every 3 to 4 years. You pass through this cycle. And the question always has been that how to make it a more stable kind of a system, have a more larger acceptability with the government system. RBI has done a wonderful job, and they are behind this sector now, and they are able to handle all the issues coming on the ground very effectively. With RBI support, the associations, the SROs are able to handle these issues very effectively. But still, a section of the people believe that we need to do much more. Now, how can we do that? So if in the last 25 years we have been working with the poor, microfinance was a poverty alleviation program. That's how we started. It became a financial inclusion thing later on, that we are providing credit to a segment of people who are not able to approach the bank. And that was a philosophy which SIDBI also started, that I heard Mr. Samit Ghosh video saying that this was the last piece to be tackled. And MFIs have been able to tackle that problem. But the interest rate has been a concern. And the question has always been raised that are we making a difference in the life of the people that we serve? Or we are just doing pure commercial business with them? This question all of you have to ask yourself. Are you a pure commercial organization? Or are you a social impact-driven organization who is making a difference in the life of the people whom you are serving? And you will get the answers. If after, say, 20, 25 years, the customer continues to remain with us, we have not been able to graduate them to the next level of their business activity, then I guess we are just doing business with them. Let's accept it. And as long as that thing will there, the criticism will always come. That you're not making any difference in the life of the people, you're simply doing business with them, earning for yourself. And this I've heard enough, working closely with the government. So that's where I say that we have to actually, and we know that we are working, a lot of things is being done, a lot of CSR activities is being done. Financial literacy trainings have been given. A human role has been played in bringing these people on the digital framework, because now all the disbursements, 100% of the disbursements are happening through bank accounts. So we have played a very important role in financial inclusion. No doubt about it. But what more can be done? Can we think of formalizing the impact assessment framework within the MFIs? Instead of doing it in a piecemeal manner, instead of telling some anecdotal stories of one woman talking about how she changed her life, which can always be questioned, can we start doing this in a more scientific manner and start measuring the impact on the life of the people based on the data? Then we can actually convince all the other stakeholders who are sitting on the other side that no, we are actually making difference in the life of the people whom we are serving. So we have actually partnered with Sadhan, and off and on studies have been conducted where impact has been assessed, but they always come under question, because the studies have to do a comparative analysis over a period of time. Those kinds of studies are not available. So if you go and just do a survey of 5,000 people, it will just be anecdotal thing. There's no scientific evidence available that their lives actually changed because of microfinance intervention. So those kinds of studies are required. And there are some MFIs who are still completely socially oriented, like you know that Cashpore is there in Varanasi. They're still charging 17 to 18%. I was talking to their MD, and he was telling me that they have a profit target for the year, and if the profit exceeds that number, then whatever is the differential amount is distributed as interest incentive, interest subsidy, or interest incentive to the customers. So they say that we don't want to make a profit beyond this, whatever be the circumstances. That's the other extreme I'm talking about. You are driven by equity investors, you are driven by shareholders. So this balancing is required to be done. But this study that we are taking for 5,000 large group using IGIDR to actually convince the stakeholders that yes, we are doing some significant work with the poor people. And also this study will document the best practices which some of the MFIs are following to measure the impact on the lives of the people. And maybe we can build upon that and take that agenda forward, that each and every MFI should actually make it mandatory that we have to measure the impact on the lives of the people. Now, coming to the second issue, 2018-19, we realized that we now need to work with the people who are graduating out of the microfinance segment. It's high time. Even now in SHG movement, the talk is of graduating them to individual loan because there are limitations how much you can borrow. And then there's no point in borrowing from 2 or 3 MFIs just to meet your requirement to do a meaningful business, because you cannot give perhaps more than 45,000-50,000 rupees, the average loan size. It's not sufficient. So we started a Prayas program in partnership with the MFIs. The intention was that we'll be able to pick those clients who deserve a higher ticket size loans and give them those kinds of loans, maybe 2 lakh, 3 lakhs, or even up to 5 lakhs, who have been with us for 8 to 10 cycles and who deserve to be supported in that manner. So Prayas program of SIDBI works like this, that you act as our banking correspondent and you originate these loans in the books of SIDBI. It serves 2 purposes. One is that it does not affect your qualifying assets portfolio, which has to maintain at a certain level, which is very strict norms. Again, MFin and Sadhan have taken up for relaxation in those 75% of net assets. So these, obviously, if you start doing a lot of these businesses, you'll have those problems of qualifying assets. So these loans can actually be partnered with SIDBI, and you can originate these loans in SIDBI's books as an agent. And second is that your own customers who have crossed the income threshold of 3 lakh rupees will not have to go out anywhere, because as it is, they don't have many options left. You have served them for so many years, and suddenly you realize that the income has gone above 3 lakh. Now what do we do? So one way is that you manipulate the income and somehow show that they're still there with you by showing that at 3 lakh rupees and less, but how long this can continue? So in this Prayas program, if you partner with SIDBI, you can actually retain the customers, keep on servicing them with the backing of SIDBI. We are proud to say that we have crossed around disbursed loans to around 2 lakh customers, and 1.7 lakh customers are outstanding. The outstanding is close to 2,200 crores. And our ambition, our chairman's ambition, is to take it to 10,000 crore by next year. 5x growth. So all the MFIs are welcome to use this platform being provided by SIDBI to look at your graduating customers and provide higher ticket size loans. We have already got limit sanction. The digital processes have stabilized. There were some issues. The COVID came and then we had to stop it for some time. So all those issues, if you have experienced any such issues in the past, all the issues has been addressed. It's a very, very smooth IT system which is in place. In fact, some of the MFIs have been able to create 100 crore book in just 3 to 4 months after doing system integration. So this is one. Second thing that we are doing is, again, in terms of impact, when I said that there was a problem that we did not know how many micro enterprises are there in this country. Different studies will give different figure. There was no authentic data. So while there was a Udyam registration platform for MSMEs, micro enterprises, where Udyam registration has been made now mandatory if you want to claim the priority sector benefit that you are aware by RBI. So the MSMEs who were formal MSMEs, they were able to register on this platform by using their GST identity and PAN. But we know that that number is very limited. It could be 10% of the total universe, which could be 7 crore, 9 crore, 10 crore. Nobody knows that number. SIDBI worked with the Ministry of MSME to set up a Udyam Assist platform, where the informal micro enterprises could actually be onboarded on Udyam and be given an Udyam registration number without having a PAN or without having a GST. So it's basically catering to the non-GST segment completely. This was launched by the Honorable Minister of MSME in January last year, it's just 1 year. And today we have 1.42 crore informal micro enterprises registered on this Udyam Assist platform. If you compare with the other platform, which is the main platform, the total number is 2 crore. And now it's stagnating. We're just hoping that by next year we'll have 4 to 5 crores customer registered on this platform. And how it works is that we work through the partners. So somebody has to identify that he's a micro enterprise, because self-certification is not possible. So the lenders, the NBFCs, the banks, the MFIs, they are the people who will upload the data on the platform. There's a requirement of an Aadhaar authentication, and we know that MFIs are not allowed to take Aadhaar as a part of KYC. So this Aadhaar seeding is done separately on the portal by calling the customer to your office or by whatever means, by your field officers. So try to see that this kind of an initiative, which is an initiative of Government of India, MFIs cannot be left behind. You're serving to 7 crore unique customers collectively across all the models. So banks are actually coming forward, and Bandhan has given a lot of numbers on this platform. The benefit that will come to this segment is manifold. Whatever is the government making a program, because of lack of authentic data, these programs are not properly directed. You can get lots of benefit to your customer. There's a proposal to give a revolving facility to all the enterprises who are registered on this platform. It will take some time, but already talks are going on. So many things can be built around this data. And the most important thing, which RBI has already said now very clearly, that for any micro enterprise, if you want the priority sector benefit to be taken, the URC is mandatory. So for you, the benefit is that your customer will get an URC. He'll come in the formal cycle. You can take proud that you have formalized your customer, number one. And number two, I've been reading that you have these issues of identification because voter ID is the only KYC that you use. And voter IDs can be duplicated. Aadhaar is not allowed to be used. There's a demand that allow us to use Aadhaar, but that will come, that will not come, we don't know. But this Udyam number for the customer will become a unique identity. So the problem that you are facing in terms of identifying your customers will be taken away to a large extent if all the micro enterprises are registered on this platform. So far, microfinance, the progress is very, very slow. NBFCs are very active, banks are very active. Microfinance, the progress has been slow. I urge all the MFIs here, we are working very closely with all of you to understand what are the issues, challenges, problems. But let's do it. By next year when we meet here, we should have registered perhaps 70-80% of our micro enterprise customers on this platform. Now, a couple of more things I'll talk about. We are doing a V-Lead program with Amphi. We are doing a V-Lead program with Sadhan, Osafi. The idea again here is that let's invest on building capacities of our clients. It pays. Because you can do more business with them. And obviously, when I say more business with them, we have to look at the graduating customers. And the probability of a default also decreases. So if we take a parallel, SIDBI did not only lend to the sector. In the 2000s, which I'm talking about, SIDBI did not just say that we'll give you debt. We said that we'll invest in your capacity building. We said that we'll give you transformation loan to convert from NGOs to NBFCs. We said that we'll do sector building work through capacity assessment rating, COCA ratings, etc. We'll do policy advocacy for you. So all this actually helped SIDBI also to derive a greater mileage. I mean, the equity investment that we made in that period in entities like Bandhan and Equitas and SKS, Bharat Financial Inclusion, that wiped out our entire losses that we suffered because of Andhra NPA. So it makes commercial sense to actually invest in building capacities of your people. So this VLEAD program is just an example. You want to test that how you can actually work with your customers to build their capacities, take them to the next level, and how you can serve them better. If this program succeeds, and we hope that it will, then we'll request that it should be taken up at the association level by all of you. SIDBI will always be there to. Yes, Afi also started. So this is a very good program. We'll have a discussion. Mr. Acharya is there who is driving this program from SIDBI side, our CGM. We'll be talking about that. But we should think seriously about investing in capacities. Obviously, there's talk about vulnerability issues to be taken care of. There are challenges there, health programs. We are trying to work with, again, with Cashport to see that whether we can link the microfinance ecosystem. We had some discussion with National Health Authority, who's running the Ayushman Bharat program. So we're trying to see, doing a pilot with Cashport to see that if we can get our customers to get the benefit of Ayushman Bharat. Many of them, despite being eligible, are not able to get that benefit. So that is one. Currently, you're providing perhaps Hospi Cash kind of facility, which is also good. MFIN is talking about a NatCat, natural calamity assurance. All these things are required. The customer has to be seen at a holistic level. Again, when you're talking about the impact. Now, two more things I'd like to highlight before I conclude. So SIDBI is not about only giving loans, as I said. A lot of developmental activities, sector building activities, and of course, two more pieces, equity and guarantee. We run an India Microfinance Equity Fund. It is stuck. We are trying to make changes. Today morning only I was discussing with Mr. Memon that this will need advocacy with the government because the fund is there. We are sitting on almost 300 crores of unutilized funds, but we are not able to give equity support to small MFIs because of the certain constraints that we are having in the way the fund design has been done. And whatever based on experiences, we've given this to government. Sadhan and MFIN are also pitching very strongly. Let's hope that these issues get resolved. This fund size also gets increased so that we are able to provide equity support to the MFIs. We have done that in the past. Almost 150 crore equity was given, but the design needs to improve. The quantum of 5 crore needs to increase, considering the current size of the microfinance sector. That's number one. And second is the guarantee. So we know that CGTMSE you must have heard about. SIDBI along with MSME is pioneering this guarantee program, which is perhaps the world's largest guarantee program today. Last year, we could reach a figure of 1 lakh crore of guarantees being issued in 1 year by CGTMSE. And this year, we've already crossed 1.5 lakh crore of guarantee. And it'll touch maybe 1.75 to 2 lakh crore by this year. So government is very proactively providing the guarantee. You must have heard about the recent changes in the guarantee scheme where guarantees up to 20 lakh rupees. There was an issue of taking a primary security by the banks. That also has been done away with. Even unsecured loans can be guaranteed. But from the microfinance perspective, I just like to highlight a few things. We're working on modifying the scheme. There was a scheme, but it had certain constraints, like a lock-in period of 18 months, because of which perhaps you're not interested in taking the guarantee because your loan size itself is maybe 18 months to 24 months. We are conscious of this fact. The changes have been made. It's just awaiting the final approval. The benefit here is that now it will guarantee, you can take guarantee up to 65%. 65% loan will be guaranteed by CGTMSE. So the guarantee is one benefit. The larger benefit is, and you must appreciate this point, that suppose you are a 500 crore MFI and you guarantee your entire portfolio at a cost of say 0.75% annual, not very high. The 65% of that portfolio which is guaranteed, the capital charge on that portfolio, on that book, will be 0. Because the sovereign guarantee which is coming, so RBI allows that capital charge on that book to be 0. So 65% of your book, you won't have to provide any capital. So it's a very exciting opportunity which is coming. And I think you must take benefit of it this time when the revamped guidelines come into place. It will certainly help you to manage your capital better, manage your portfolio better, losses better, right? So these are some of my thoughts, and as I said, it's always a pleasure. I have been there with the microfinance sector for a very long time, so many of the people know me. It seldom happens in a public sector entity that you get to spend so much time in microfinance sector. I've been 2012 onwards, on some pretext or the other, I have been closely associated with this sector. I'm fortunate. And that's why I feel very strongly about this sector and its future. It's always good to do a crystal ball gazing. What will happen 5 years from now, the way things are changing, digitizations. I mean, a lot of things are happening, competition from the banks. Good thing is that NBFC, MFI is again caught up. So you'll always have an important role to play. It is proven the pure play MFIs will always be important. But a lot of things need to be done to prepare ourselves for the next 5 years. Yeah, and hope the deliberations today will actually add to whatever I said. Thank you.
For our next inaugural address, I would like to call up on the dais Srimati Usha Ramesh, CGM of NABARD.
Namaskar. Distinguished guests on the dais, my friends from all over India, welcome to the City of Joy. I have come about 1.5 years back from the south. My exposure to the MFI industry was limited to the south. And when I came here to West Bengal, it was a huge revelation. I was astounded to see the amount of space that the microfinance industry occupied in West Bengal. And let me tell you, yes, please. Yeah, after this. After this. Oh, sure. Sorry for the little interruption. We all wanted to play a video after this, so he was just reminding me of that. Yes, as I was saying that when I came to Bengal, it was a huge revelation. And when I do my tours of the interiors of West Bengal, the fact is driven home to me that MFI industry is really flourishing in West Bengal. And I think there are a lot of stalwarts present here in this audience who are the reason behind the huge inroads that the MFI industry has made in West Bengal. And let me tell you, if you weren't there, then I think the banking industry, banking would not have reached out to these, unreached places in West Bengal. So you've made a huge contribution to reaching credit to the most remote places of Bengal, to the most unreached people of West Bengal. I had, how do we associate with the MFIs or the SHGs? As my friend from Sidbi was saying, that we all play a huge role in the SHG program, SHG bank linkage in India. I remember my first posting was in Bangalore, and we were working with a small NGO called Myrada. We started with a very little experiment about showing to Reserve Bank of India and showing to the world how SHGs are the most reliable set of people whom you can lend to. Because the recoveries were huge, and that's how RBI was sold the idea that SHGs were here to stay. I was looking at some figures which my team had given me this morning. And it says that as of 31st March 2023, there are about 16 lakh rural households under the SHG bank linkage program. And out of these, 113 lakhs were just women groups. So women have, of course, that's an oft-repeated phrase, that women lead the SHG bank linkage program. During the financial year 2023, banks had extended credit to about 43 lakh SHGs to the extent of 1.5 lakh crore. And that growth was something like 26 and 46% respectively. In West Bengal, my home state now, a total of 6.7 lakh SHGs have been credit linked, and the loan amount is something like 15,000 crore. The outstanding figures are outstanding, of course. 70 lakh SHGs with a credit outstanding of almost 2 lakh crore. And the JLG figures are also quite welcoming. 258 lakh SHGs, JLGs in India, and 19 lakh functioning just in West Bengal. At this point, maybe I'd like to talk about the program that we do for setting up micro enterprises, that is the MEDP and LEDP programs, that is the micro entrepreneurship development programs and the livelihood entrepreneurship development programs, which are two flagship programs of the Department of Microcredit in NABARD. In West Bengal, across districts, if you put them together, we have an average of about 200 programs, MEDPs and LEDPs put together, going on across the state. This one small thing, I'd like NABARD, one of our videos to play here. It's for about 4 minutes. I'd like to request your kind patience to see this video. It's on financial inclusion. Thank you.
এটিএম কার্ডটা এনেছি ওই যে দেখো ওই যে শপিং মল ওর নিচে এটিএম আছে যাও তুলে আনো টাকা এটিএমও দেখাচ্ছে না ম্যাপে বলছে মেশিনটার সঙ্গে আছে এখান থেকে চলো কিন্তু ক্যাশ ছাড়া যাবো কি করে
তুমি চলো এখান থেকে আমি ওদের কিছু একটা বুঝিয়ে দেবো বাড়ি চলো জায়গাটা কিন্তু ঠিক সুবিধার লাগছে না
কার্ড এনেছেন এটিএম কার্ড এটিএম কার্ড এনেছি তবে এখানে এটিএম কার্ড মানে অবশ্য না আনলেও হবে যাই হোক কোনো চিন্তা করার দরকার নেই আমরা হেঁটে হেঁটে এটিএমে যাই আর আপনাদের আজকাল আর ক্যাশ তেমন চায় না দোকানে বাজারে সব জায়গায় ক্যাশলেস ট্রানজাকশনই অভ্যাস হয়ে যাচ্ছে দিন গুনে নিয়ে
Dr. Satyajit Dev, General Manager, Department of Supervision, RBI Regional Office, Kolkata.
Distinguished dignitaries of the dais and delegates and personalities I can see in this auditorium today. Very good morning to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I welcome you all to the 8th Eastern India Microfinance Summit. As we gather here today, we embark on a journey to explore the pivotal role of microfinance in empowering the poor and catalyzing sustainable development in our region and beyond. Microfinance, with its root deeply embedded in the philosophy of financial inclusion and social empowerment, has emerged as a powerful tool for uplifting the marginalized sections of society through access to small loans, savings, and other financial services. Microfinance institutions have been instrumental in providing the underprivileged with the means to break free the shackles of poverty and build a better future for themselves and their families. However, as we celebrate the achievements of the microfinance sector, it is imperative to acknowledge the challenges and issues that confront MFIs in India. Despite the significant strides made in expanding financial access, MFIs continue to grapple with a myriad of obstacles that hinder their ability to effectively serve their target clientele. Now I'll mention 3 alphabet only, which all of you are aware, but I'm taking this opportunity to highlight that. One of the important framework which I would like to highlight is the framework of GRC, that means governance, risk and compliance for MFIs. If we can adopt the best practices in these areas through collective wisdom here, it would be a great achievement for all of us. Because in this auditorium today, we have all gathered those who have already tested success. Those are the personalities they are with us. They have created great institutions over a period of 4 or 5 decades. And we also have some budding entrepreneurs or new entrants in the industry who are below 30 or 35 years of the age. Because we need to understand, in India today, 65% population is below 35 years of age. That's why I want to highlight and try to ignite the minds of the young who can take advantage of this platform and talk to each other to understand how a great institution can be created over a period of 4 or 5 decades. Moreover, the issue of over-indebtedness among microfinance borrowers remains a pressing concern. While access to credit is crucial for economic empowerment, excessive borrowing can lead to debt traps and financial distress. Undermining the very purpose of microfinance interventions, it is imperative for MFIs to adopt responsible lending practices and implement robust borrower education programs to mitigate the risk of over-indebtedness and ensure the financial well-being of their clients. Furthermore, the sustainability of microfinance operations is contingent upon the availability of adequate funding resources. I repeat, adequate funding sources. MFIs often face challenges in accessing affordable capital, particularly in volatile market conditions. Diversification of funding sources, mobilization of deposits and forging strategic partnership with investors. Forging strategic partnerships with investors and financial institutions are imperative to ensure the long-term viability and resilience of microfinance institutions. In addition to these challenges, MFIs also grapple with operational inefficiencies, technological barriers, and social and cultural barriers that hinder their outreach and impact. Addressing these multifaceted challenges requires a concerted effort, which this platform is giving, from all stakeholders, policymakers, regulators, investors, practitioners, and civil society organizations to create an enabling ecosystem for microfinance to thrive. As we deliberate on these issues and challenges over the course of this summit, let us reaffirm our commitment to harnessing the transformative power of microfinance to create a more inclusive and sustainable future for all by leveraging innovative approaches, fostering collaboration and prioritizing the needs of the poor and vulnerable, we can unlock the full potential of microfinance as a catalyst for social and economic empowerment. Microfinance as a catalyst for social and economic empowerment. Because we define social work as not distributing favors, it is empowering people. That is the punchline. Sometimes social work is not distributing favors, it is empowering people, which this platform, this entire crowd, today we are taking that oath. In conclusion, I urge all stakeholders to seize this opportunity to exchange ideas, share best practices, and chart a course towards a more equitable and prosperous future. Together, let us strive to build a world where every individual, regardless of their socio-economic background, caste and creed, has the opportunity to thrive and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And I wish to thank AMFI for giving us an opportunity to be a part of the proceedings here today. I'll be brief in the interest of time. The microfinance industry in India has actually grown in leaps and bounds over the last couple of decades. But one of the most important things that we need to keep in mind is also the social objective of the industry that we have. And it is proven through research that people who are impoverished or people who have in villages in a sort of an economically weaker section of society, they have lower growth rates, primarily because of three reasons. First is that they have distance from capital. People who are in urban areas have access to capital, they're closer to urban centers, so they have closer access to capital. People who are in far-flung villages have distance to capital. Secondly, people have, there's a cost in administration of capital. The cost in administration of capital in urban areas is much lower. The cost in administration of capital in rural areas is much more expensive, and that also sort of impedes the flow of capital to some of these areas. And last but not the least is the handling of capital. When capital is given to people, the credit discipline, etc., is not so well developed in rural areas or has not been able sort of built to the extent that it is in the urban areas. The microfinance industry actually has bridged all three. If you see distance to capital, the microfinance industry brings capital to the doorstep of the people or to people who need it. If you talk about administration of capital, because of the large amount of people who are deployed by the microfinance industry, they bring the sort of the servicing at the doorstep, which is not always the same case in urban areas. In urban areas, people go to banks or financial institutions to seek capital.
The microfinance industry is exactly the opposite. They bring doorstep administration of capital. And last but not the least, the handling of capital. Because of the joint lending group format, because of the sort of continuous training by the microfinance industry sales force, the amount of credit discipline, in fact, this industry has incredible credit discipline. So together with these three aspects, the microfinance industry actually has lifted a lot of people out of poverty. And when I travel in villages across the country, where I go to the east of the country, west of the country, south of the country, I do feel that in villages or in areas where there is flow of microfinance capital, the quality of living standards slowly improve over a period of time. Women tend to become more independent, women tend to become more confident, and they are willing to take more and more sort of initiatives under their own fold. I think apart from the sort of the financial aspects of the microfinance industry, which is very healthy from an economic return point of view to the shareholders, I think we should also celebrate the social contribution that this particular industry has made to the country. And we in L&T Finance as well, apart from the social contribution that we sort of push together by lending to the impoverished sections of society, we have also made sure that our CSR efforts are also in sync with this particular industry. In fact, if you look at our award-winning Digital Sakhi program, apart from doing the microfinance lending in the villages in which we are present, we also are taking digital literacy to the women. We teach them how to make payments using mobile phones. We teach them how to use mobile phones. We teach them how to use mandi prices or the prices of agricultural commodity by mobile phones. We teach them how to sort of deposit or access their bank accounts using mobile phones. So I do believe that the industry has three set goals. The first goal is obviously to ensure the flow of capital. The second goal is to make sure that after ensuring the flow of capital, that people do not get into debt traps or people are able to balance their sort of indebtedness and so that, overall, in a manner, they are far more sort of attuned to make sure that their obligations are met and do not get into a sort of a racing debt trap. I think we have a responsibility there. And last but not the least, we have a responsibility to making sure that the entire country and the sort of the last mile of the country becomes more digitally literate so that credit administration becomes far, far more easier. So I would thank AMFI again for giving us the platform to sort of share our thoughts. And I'm completely confident that this industry will grow in leaps and bounds over the next couple of years. And as India grows closer to our 5 trillion economy, I'm sure the rising tide will lift all boats and the microfinance industry will play a very significant part in it. Thank you so much.
We have Shri Gigi Mamin, Executive Director of Sadhan with us today. I would like to call upon the dais, sir.
Good morning to all. Respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my dear friends from microfinance industry. Of course, I have a couple of sessions also, so I won't take much time because some of the things which I would be wanting to say, I will be saying in those sessions. One, of course, is with Tamalda, a discussion on fireside chat. But then a couple of things I thought I should share here. First of all, let me compliment AMFI for organizing this kind of a conference, and it is growing every year. It is growing bigger and bigger. That's a great thing, and kudos to the entire team of AMFI. I had been part of this AMFI conference from I was there at least 4 times I had attended in the last 8 years, right from the first one. So I am seeing the growth, and it's really wonderful. Not only this, AMFI itself has grown its stature. AMFI itself has become a bigger institution, getting into so many things. One is, of course, the one which Mr. Prakash Kumar said about the support of SIDBI, how they are entering into the micro-enterprise activities. I feel that's a right thing to do because we have been seeing this microfinance over the last 30 years or so, both SSG Bank Linkage Program as well as the MFI activities. I feel that probably there was a need to go into a next level of development. Of course, we have been able to bring the poor people to the banking fold or the financial fold. But what is the next step? So probably that is where the SIDBI's initiative of that we lead, that is women enterprise, developing the enterprises. So that's a wonderful initiative. I'm thankful to SIDBI for giving Sadhan also an opportunity to work on that. We are working in 2 states, that is in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. More than that, I feel the SSG Bank Linkage Program over the 30 years or 32 years now have reached a kind of a pinnacle because we have brought so many people under the SSG Bank Linkage Program. But what next? Of course, Usha ma'am talked about the LEDP, MEDP programs which NABARD used to support. But that was all more of a limited in nature. So now what we are trying to do is that, of course, we all know that Government of India is also announced that Lakpati Didi, where they want to develop 3 crore women enterprises in the country, and each one having at least 1 lakh of income per year. So we have also taken a part in that. In fact, West Bengal is one of our states. We will be working on that, where we have got some support from the Gates Foundation. So we will be working with the NRLM and SRLM, trying to develop the micro enterprise activities among the SSG Bank linkage activities. So this is one thing I thought I should share with you. And as I said, it's of the 4 states which you have taken, Assam, West Bengal, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. West Bengal is a definite state, so we would look forward for the support from everyone. No, definitely the bankers first, and of course my NBFC friends also. Secondly, one issue which is being again and again flagged is about the cost of fund. The financing, the cost of lending. Of course, we are also aware about that. We all know that microfinance lending is around 23-24%. But what is the reason? One of the major reasons I feel it's lack of funding support. Let me tell you, last year AMFI took initiative to make a visit to Bangladesh to see the microfinance activities there. And we were really astonished to see that not only in Bangladesh, in other countries where the microfinance is practiced, including the country where Mr. Yadav is coming from, Nepal, they are all allowed to take savings from their members. So if they can take savings from the members, there are two things. One is that there is a saving habit being cultivated. Number two, because we interacted with some of the members, some of the women members there, they were saying that if this facility was not available, they would not have been able to keep the money properly. They would have kept it somewhere and it was never been utilized properly. But now there is a saving habit, there is a saving available to the MFIs, and to that extent, the cost of lending also comes down. So that is one way we should be looking at. I had sent a request to RBI, my RBI's GM from Calcutta office is here. If you can take a note of that, that would be great. Actually, taking savings from the members of the SHGs or LJLGs or SHGs through whom they finance, I think that would be one of the ways of doing it. Number two, we also saw a dedicated funding mechanism in Bangladesh, PKSF. When we met the DFS secretary recently, we pitched for it, that there should be some kind of a dedicated funding mechanism. So these are some of the ways of bringing down the cost. Otherwise, we know that it's a costly business because loaning comes from the banks, loaning comes from the NBFCs, and that is being lent to the ultimate borrowers. Definitely there will be a cost of intermediation happening. So with this, I stop here. Thank you so much and wishing all the best for this conference. Thank you.